brilliant as
Yeah.
anyway. Ben Wang, I am so thrilled to welcome you to the Little Known Facts podcast today. I'm going to read the most truncated bio so that we can just spend our time talking about you and all the things. So bear with me at
Okay.
this embarrassing moment of having to listen to just like a tiny number of your accomplishments.
Okay.
It's just thrilling to have you because your performance in Gail Daughtry and the Celebrity Sex Pass is truly one of the funniest things and brought so much joy into my
Thank
life.
you.
But also, Ben is known for playing the titular role in Karate Kid Legends. He stars opposite Cooper Hoffman in The Long Walk. He was also the lead on the Disney Plus series American Born Chinese. He will be in The Hunger Games, The Sunrise on Reaping. He also stars in this beautiful small film called Brian. He was in the musical film version of Mean Girls. There is so much more that he has done, but I want to spend my time talking to you, and everyone else can go Google. But I just want to say, you are the most extraordinary actor, really deep diving into your career over the last few weeks, getting ready for today. The number of roles you have played that really, other than you have the same face in each of them, you are
And
so
the same hair, and the same hair, and I'm
there
the same height. And
and
I've
the
been trying to
same
change
height.
that for a long time, but nothing has worked.
Not yet. Not yet.
Yeah, I might do
Until
the
that.
shin bone thing. I might do the shin bone
Oh
thing.
my
If I
God.
come back and I'm 5'6", I did the shin bone thing.
Okay. Promise me this. If you come back when you are 5'6",
Yeah.
uh, show us how you do it because there are so many young people, I'm sure, who would love. My son used to like hang from a chin bar and
That's what my mom told me to do when I was a kid. She was like, "You do
oh,
that, you'll get taller." And I was like, "I don't think I'll get taller. I think my arms will just get longer."
exactly. And I said to my son, actually, like, you're perfect. You're perfect the way you are, and
Oh,
life
okay.
is going to work for you as it has for
Well, my
you.
mom didn't say that to me. She said, "Go hang on the bar. Your arms need to be longer."
And guess what? You're a movie star, and I
Yeah.
don't know yet what.
My arms, no one, yeah, my arms are perfectly sized.
Well, my son's name is Caleb. My daughter
Oh,
is an
really?
assistant at CAA, and her best friend, who's also an assistant at CAA, is named Caleb.
Oh,
So
you're kidding.
I'm not kidding. Let's talk about how this movie came into your life, and then we can
Yeah,
kind of go back in time to a little bit of your origin story and how
sure.
you become an actor.
Okay. We can try. I have a very bad memory.
Okay,
Um, uh,
so then
it,
let's start with this movie.
no, that's what I was referring to. Like even with this movie, I have a hard time remembering exactly how I started, but it wasn't anything. I think it was just like they sent me a self tape. It's just a ho hum audition like the other 200 that I do and don't get a call back for. But yeah, this one I guess I kind of nailed it.
Do you remember anything about what you did in the audition or what they sent you in terms of the lines? I know you said you have a bad memory.
Yeah, it was that opening scene. It was that
Okay.
first scene that you see me in, when they're introduced at CAA. It was just those two scenes. It was just that chunk. Um, and that was it. And then, they gave me a callback and they sent me the full script and I read it and I like opened it. It was already late. It was like 2 in the morning. I was like, I'll just read a little bit of this.
Yeah.
Then I could not stop. It was so funny. It was the funniest thing in the world. It like definitely the funniest script that I had ever been sent and read. It's just very much my particular sense of humor too.
Yeah.
Um, stupid smart or smart stupid or
Yeah.
smart smart or stupid stupid. I can't tell.
Yeah.
It's one of those four, or maybe some combination. And I loved it so much. I was like, I have to be a part of this. And I had been aware of Ken and David's work together before. So I was like, this is gonna be, if anything, it was intimidating to step onto it because everybody in it, Zoe and John and all of them and those guys, they came up together, from college. They have a group, they have a family and they have a shorthand with each other. And they all immediately understand what the assignment is in terms of the
Yeah.
sense of humor to bring to it. So I think whatever I sent in for the tape, it just so happened to match up with that, and it ended up working out.
Had you seen Wet Hot American Summer? Obviously, you're aware of it
Yeah.
in prep. Did you sort of watch it, or had you already seen it?
You know what I had seen? Not Wet Hot American Summer. I had seen Wet Hot American Summer first day of camp.
Okay.
Which
Also a
is where I
classic.
started. I've been watching the Wet Hot American Summer series in chronological order. I think that's the better
Okay.
way. Yeah,
Yeah, you're a purist. I
yeah,
appreciate that.
exactly. I want the arc of the story as it is intended by the creators, you know. So I started there. But I thought it's just so funny. And also their film role models,
Yeah.
which you know, that was a certified neighborhood classic when I was growing up.
Do you guys rehearse very much, or did you sort of just get thrown into it on day one? And did you film in order at all?
I wish I could remember.
Because you got hit in the head with a big frying pan and the other
Yeah.
not ward off.
Yeah, I don't remember us rehearsing too much.
Okay.
You know, if anything, there's like a pass through or a read through. I really am not confident enough about about my memory of that to, because that's also that's stuff that I don't really pay that much attention to anymore. I just
Right.
sort of, because every set's so different, you know.
Well,
You
can
just
we
show up
talk
and
about that? Like,
yeah,
well, Slattery said his favorite thing because I asked him if it was improv, and he was like, no, very little,
yeah,
because the script was so unbelievably funny, to your point, on the page.
yeah,
And so David Wayne would throw out alt lines
yeah,
sometimes while you were shooting, and he was like, that was really fun because he
yeah,
didn't have to come up with the improv.
yeah,
David and Ken would, but it just gave this kind of freedom and sort of silliness to this already
yeah.
unbelievably silly experience. Well, I want to talk about that because for a young person, you have already done, I mean, I just read really like a thumbnail sketch of the things that you've been in, and all the things you have coming up. And so it sounds like you just show up and are just super present to the experience. And then when it's done, it's done. Is that kind of an accurate description?
Yeah, that's how I do it. And that's what served me the best.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
There is a scene in Gail Daughtry where Slattery does some very sophisticated martial arts moves. No stand-ins necessary, obviously, all of them
Obviously.
studs. Um, can you talk about your own relationship to the martial arts, beating out what I hear is like 10,000, maybe more actors for Karate Kid? How young were you when you started doing that kind of work yourself? And were you able to kind of help Slattery kill it when he had to do it?
No, Slattery he needed no help.
He needed none.
He got it. He
Okay.
was fine. Um, I I mean I did after school taekwondo when I was a kid, you know, but it wasn't really enough to serve what I did in, you know, Karate Kid. You know,
Yeah.
that work. I did go to dance school.
As a kid.
I went, yeah, well, I went to college for musical theater. I have my degree is in fine arts. It's in musical theater specifically. So I studied dance, and really, at the end of the day, I think that training helped more for action choreography because it's really more about coordination and less about, you know, how hard you can punch. Um, yeah, and to that point, after, you know, I filmed this movie after Karate Kid.
Yeah.
And so all the stuntmen on set knew, like,
Corey.
yeah, they were like, oh man, oh, I wish we could put in some action for you. Oh man, wish we could put in a fight for
I
you. I'm like, dude,
know.
I was like, dude, the last thing I just got off Karate Kid, the last thing I
Yeah.
want to do is fight ever again.
Did
I'm-
you get, did your body have to recover from that movie?
yeah, I had to, yeah, I was a wreck. I was destroyed.
I'm sure. I'm sure. How extraordinary, though. I mean, when you think of the number of people who auditioned for that part, I'm sure many of them were at a certain level of karate. What? I mean, I know you won't, I know you have amnesia, so forgive me. Any question you can go past, don't
Okay.
remember. But as you started working on the movie and talking to Jackie Chan and
Yeah.
Ralph Macchio, these gods of the world of Karate Kid, and yours was called Legends, and they really are legends, and now you're
Yeah.
part of that legendary group of people like superheroes. What do you think it was about you and this character that were so aligned that it didn't really matter that you were not, a lifetime expert in karate?
Well, I think casting is a black box, and I like to keep it that way. I don't want to know why they picked me over, six other people, and I try to think about that, as little as possible. But I do know that I when it comes to casting, and in the business, it's at the end of the day, it's it is at the very end down to luck, and it's just about how well you as a person and what you bring in your experiences and what you can do just so happen to fit the character. And in this case, there was a wide variety of parameters that they required. They needed someone who could fight, and I could fight.
Right,
I'm sure there were many of that 10,000 that couldn't,
right.
right? But I could a little, and I could enough for the stunt coordinator to go, well, I can train him to do even more because I did. I had a lot of training. Right?
Okay.
That's the other thing.
Yeah,
So I had to show potential in my ability to get to that
right.
level.
And obviously
Um,
dance, you moved beautifully. Like they
right.
saw the elegance of that.
Yeah. And you had to act, right? You had to be able to act. I'm sure there were some people who were very much karate martial arts experts
Mhm.
that, then whose acting may have you could be a good actor, but if what you bring the energy just doesn't serve the character, then, you know, then at the end of the day, my whatever I brought, my vibe or whatever just was good enough for them for what they wanted that character to be. And then also they needed someone who could speak Mandarin, and they needed
Right.
someone who could speak Mandarin fluently. And that's, you know, frankly, a rarity as far as, actors in Hollywood. And I was born in China. I speak Mandarin fluently. And I think it's those three things put together that gave me the leg up. But, you know, at the end of the day, you never know. It could have been that I wore the right shirt or that, some other kid was too tall or too short.
Right. Well,
Um,
thank God you weren't too tall. Thank
yeah,
God.
exactly. Exactly.
After all the hanging from the dark. So I want to talk a little bit about that because your story is so incredible. You came here when you were 6. I believe you were born in Beijing. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So, and you went to Minnesota,
Yeah.
which was so like if you tried to make up like let's find two places that could not meet, like could not be more different, and we're going to throw Ben into into that mix and see what happens. Where did
Yeah.
the love? I mean, you said you graduated. You're. We're going to see you on Broadway, damn, and if it's the last thing I do, tell me where this like love and connection to theater and musicals and transforming into these different characters. Where was that first born in you?
Um, I I have theories, but I don't have answers. I came here when I was 6 to Minnesota, and small town. This
Yeah,
is rural. This isn't Twin Cities or the suburbs. This is
right.
further south. Um, and when I was a kid, I was just bored. I mean, I lived at a house with my grandparents. They raised me for the first part of when I lived here, and they live out truly in the middle of nowhere. They live in a town called Cannon City, with the population right now, I think, is 700.
Wow.
And back then it might have been 713, or 701 because I was there. I don't know, but there was truly nobody, and I was just so bored all the time that the only thing that I had to play with was my own imagination and worms. And
And not necessarily in that order.
no, in that order. I preferred worms second.
Okay.
Um, they didn't take direction very well. And I remember that like one of the first like toys that I had to play with was an old camcorder.
Huh.
My parents had old V8 tape camcorder, um, which was already dated at the time. So this is like, this is like
Really
some vintage
retro.
technology.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would, oh, the other part that you have to understand is that I learned English from scratch by watching television. Uh, I watched 8 to 10 hours of television every single day for about a month and a half. And by the end, I was fluent in English. Um, which is also why I don't have a Minnesotan accent, I think. It's because I learned from a bunch of, the Californian voice actors.
Right,
Um,
right.
So I would take that V8 camcorder and I would make uh I would try to recreate, scenes from television shows. I was 6, 7 years old. So I think in some ways it was just a matter of it was literally the only things that I had to entertain myself was this world. And so it was just the way that my brain went. And then I did theater later because I wasn't good at throwing or catching a ball. I
In
had no
school,
confidence. Yeah,
in
in school.
high school.
Yeah.
And is that where you study dance also?
No, that was in college. That
Okay.
was later when I went to New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to just get back to Gail Daughtry because I think you have to agree with me, even if you weren't in it, that it's truly one of the most hilarious films.
It's incredible.
It's incredible. And so I wonder, while making it, was it one of the most joyous experiences to just be a part of that silliness, actually smart silliness, to
Yeah.
your earlier point?
Yes. It's I mean everybody on that movie is so much fun. So much fun to work with and it's just so freaking funny.
Yeah,
Um
yeah.
that actually I was intimidated a lot of the times. I was like, I gotta I was like,
So like,
oh man, I gotta because
what do
I
you
am
do with
stepping into
that?
it too. That was like
Yes,
my I started when I started in doing TV and stuff. It was in comedy, but the last couple of movies, like the big projects I had in my past, weren't really funny,
right.
comedy first,
Yeah,
and this type of broad comedy where you're playing a comedy character, where you're
totally.
characterizing the comedy through like a heightened version of reality. Like this is what I always wanted to do, so I brought it, but it was intimidating. It was just, in some ways it was my first time.
Yeah. And it would
And
be
at this level,
intimidating. Yes.
yeah,
And even if you had done it like out of the womb, this group of people have such mastery of it
yeah,
and make it look so easy.
right.
So did you start working like while you were in college or sort of did you just have some
Yeah.
good luck right after? What was the entree into a professional life?
It was luck. It was all
Yeah.
luck.
What was your first professional job?
My first professional job was yes, I was still in high school actually in Minnesota. I at the Children's Theater at the Minneapolis Children's Theater. I was an
Oh, goodness.
understudy in
Yeah.
a play version of Aquila and the Bee. I was the evil Asian kid. I was the Chinese boy who was really good at spelling, and if Aquila had to, beat. But I was his understudy. I never went on stage once. But that was my first time working in a professional capacity, for a theater that was, that actually paid you money to work there.
Coming from Minnesota, and then had you been in New York City often in your life? Was coming here for school one of your first trips? Like, what was your intro to New York?
Yeah, that was first time. Um, my mom drove me to the airport. I had one suitcase. She dropped me off and she said, "Good luck." And then she also said, "By the way, I'm selling the house and I'm moving back to China." So she said, "You better make it."
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh
She
my
didn't
God.
say it like that. She didn't say it like that,
No, but
but
those were the facts, boots on
but
the
those
ground.
were the
She was
facts.
telling
Yeah.
you. You're like,
I was like, oh
oh,
my God.
wow. Have you been back to China in recent history?
Yeah, I go back all the time. I have a lot of family that live there, so
Okay.
I visited as often as I can. My grandparents are there and now, both my parents are there. Um, so I do go a lot. But yeah, no, that was and then I kind of showed up in New York City by myself, uh, and I truly packed one suitcase. And it was like 103 degrees, and I did not know how to get out of JFK. I could not figure it out. I couldn't find the taxis, and I didn't understand how the trains worked. And I think I might have paid one of those scammers. You know, those guys who were like, "I'll give you a ride, kid. I'll give you a ride. Hop in, hop in.
Okay.
Where do you want to go?" And then they take you to, Long Island, and they go, "Ah, I went the wrong way. That'll be $3,000."
God.
Um, but I didn't have that much money at the time, so they couldn't have gotten
Right.
a hold of it on
No,
me.
they would have been very disappointed. Um, did you enjoy studying musical theater?
It depends on how you define the word enjoy.
Okay.
It was hard. was very
Yeah.
difficult. It was not as fun for me as when I was just doing it, for the love of the game in
Yeah.
Northfield, Minnesota. But it was a very rewarding experience, and it really taught me everything that I needed to know for
Right.
later. Um, because if you can do more, you can do less.
Right. And also, nothing really as hard in the real world as it is in those programs.
No, truly, yeah. Once you've
Right?
gone through like a Whiplash Academy sort of
You're
thing,
good.
you're actually kind of good
Yes.
when it comes to work life pressures.
Realize that. Did you stay in New York after you graduated, or like where was your first home as a non-student?
Well, I mean, I graduated, so I am, yeah. I stayed in New York, and I've been there for, oh my God, it's getting close to 10 years.
Wow.
It's been a long time.
And have you been looking at Broadway musicals?
Yeah, I mean, I still work in theater. I still, have uh designs for the theater. I most recently I did a musical with David and Ken in Los Angeles. Uh David co-wrote and co-directed a new musical called 3 Months Later. And he called me and said, "Do you want to be a part of this thing?" And so I went out and did it. That was back in January. So I'm still very much in the game for that. Yeah.
Okay, that must have been so incredibly fun. I am so
Oh, it was such a
thrilled to hear
blast.
that.
Such a blast.
I am really excited that this movie is out in the world. People can go see it in a theater, and then they will be able to watch it in the comfort of their homes after a certain amount of time. And the joy that you have brought to the universe with this performance is so special.
I
And
hope so. Yeah. I was
you
just like,
know,
I'm just gonna. I was like kind of a dumb baby. You know what I mean? It
I
just, yeah.
know, I know, but with such commitment to the dumb.
Yes. Yes. That's that's key.
And nothing would have happened in this film without your character, Caleb, sort of opening the doors for them. By them coming to CAA and meeting you and you risking your entire livelihood for them, it's a beautiful thing.
You said you have a kid who works at CAA?
I do. My daughter's actually in the books department in
Oh,
the New
amazing.
York offices at CAA, which is actually a pretty fabulous department to be in
Yeah,
if you love literature and
yeah,
you love how things get transformed into other sorts
yeah.
of content. And it's actually been, unlike a lot of movie versions of it, the most supportive, incredibly nurturing place to work for young people. Or she really lucked out with the agent that she's working
Yeah,
with. I'm not sure.
yeah,
But it's filled with young people who love the arts and love to be a part of the world of making stories happen. And so for a first job, it's pretty great. It's like a
yeah.
really great place to land. Um, then this is an incredible beginning to a comedic film career that might also now happen after everybody sees this. Do you know like what your next thing is? Are you resting right now? Are you calling me from a set? Like what's happening now?
No, I'm calling you. I'm calling you from Minnesota. I'm
Right?
home for the holidays, and I don't have anything set next. I just got off of a TV show, um, for All Mankind. Actually,
Yeah.
oh wait, I don't even know if I'm supposed to say that, so I'm gonna rescind that back into my mouth. And the next thing that's on my calendar is the Hunger Games, the new Hunger Games movie, which
Sure.
comes out, and that is not a comedy.
No.
That movie is not funny, really, almost at all. Um,
No, it's too real. It's actually too funny.
if it's too funny, that would be a bad thing, I think.
Exactly. We want to keep it on
Um,
brand. Is that something you already filmed or that you're going to film?
that's been filmed. That was filmed back last year. Almost a year ago is when we started filming, actually, and that'll be out in November. And I'm very excited for that film. I think we made something really quite incredible, very special. In the same way that Gail Daughtry is special, but also not in the same way that Gail Daughtry is
Oh,
special.
no, but that it understands the assignment and it's completely committed
Yes,
and
yes,
fans
exactly.
have an
It's a commitment. Yeah,
expectation. You have been in, I don't know if franchise is the right word, but you've been a part of some film worlds that are so, it's like playing Superman. Like you're part of these worlds that have a fan base that is so devoted, whether it's Hunger Game or Karate Kid or even just being on Disney. Like there are all these lanes of fandom. And I imagine by being a part of those, you are a very recognizable person. How is your comfort level with being a person that does work that is recognized by people wherever you go in the world? What has that been like? And I know that's not a small question, but
Yeah.
how do you feel about that?
I'm getting better at it.
Yeah,
It's not something I was used to. But I mean, it's nice to know that people are watching what I do and that they're getting a kick out of it.
yeah,
My favorite thing, my favorite kinds of interactions are when people come up just to say, "Hey man, I saw it. I saw your thing. I thought it was awesome."
yeah,
And, and leave it at that. Because that, then oh, like the only reason that person came over here is really because he saw the thing and he liked it and he wanted to let me know. I was like, that's such a cool thing to do, for him. It's kind of me personally, I could never go up to someone in public and be like, hey man, I'm just too scared of it. I'm like, what if I'm bothering him? Blah 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 blah.
right.
So I don't know. It's kind of putting your neck out too. Like they're coming up and saying that that's for some people that's a hard thing to do, and that they're willing to do it just to tell me that that's something I did was cool to them. Feels nice.
Yeah,
Um, sometimes sometimes I haven't showered in a bit, my hair looks bad, and they ask for a picture, and I go, yeah, 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 sure, no
yeah,
problem.
yeah.
But
Can I
inside I'm
send
going,
you one?
oh man.
Would that be okay?
Yeah. Like at the airport, nobody looks their best at the airport, but
No.
I've learned to look better for my trips to the airport
That's
because
funny. I'm always like, how did they look? I mean, I look like I've just been, digging graves somewhere.
yeah,
But you know what? It's part of the job. And I appreciate you're doing it for the people. It's very
yeah.
generous of you, Ben.
Yeah, that's why I do it. It's for the
For
people.
the people, damn it. Before I let you go, again, congratulations on Gail Daughtry. Congratulations on all of it. The idea of like coming to a new country, not knowing the language, in the very much middle of nowhere. Although there are a lot of people from Minnesota who are very proud, but just to
I know,
negotiate
I
what
know.
it is to be someone who is adjusting to a really new culture and to have found your way, making a lot of people really proud, not just your family. I'm sure a lot of people just feel excited to be seen on the big screen by somebody like you. But before I let you go, so thank you. Thanks for your beautiful work, and I can't wait to see what happens
Great.
next. Um, can you share a little known fact about yourself?
A little known fact about myself. Yeah, so oh, yeah, okay. A little known fact about myself. I went to clown college.
4 years.
Not 4 years. No, I have an associate's in clown. No, I truly went to clown college. Part of my program, there was like like a special subsection that you would go to where you would study clowning. And I mean like classical clowning, you know, like Italian, you know,
Oh,
physical acting, that sort of, that school of physical acting and clowning, practicing like slaps and stuff and putting on masks and making funny noises and in some ways that was in an already very enriching educational experience that has served me in my job and in my life the most. And in fact, I think I used what I learned there a lot in Gail Daughtry because the clown, to use some to use some academic jargon, um, the clown is very innocent.
yeah,
That's where the pull of the clown is. The clown is childlike. To
right.
be a good clown, you sort of put yourself in a state where everything is new and everything is a discovery and you find fun in everything. and that is contagious to the audience. Um, yeah, that's also why when I'm in like group interviews with everybody else in the in the cast, and they're like, "So how did you learn to be funny?" And they're like, "Well, I was a part of this,
City or
legendary
whatever.
comedy troupe for this many years," and they get to me, and I was like, "Well, I studied comedy academically," and I feel kind of lame about that, but it's true.
It's serving you. It's really serving you.
I hope so.
All right, Ben, Wang, have a great day. Thank you for spending this time with me and my listeners. How lucky are we?
Thank you for having me. This has been a great conversation.
All right, until next time. Bye.
Take care.
Bye.